Oh, Justin.
That hurts.
There you go.
Oh, my God.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen's meeting of September 23rd, 2019. Ask everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Public announcements, Kevin, have anything? No. Jim?
No, sir.
Ken?
Shoot, I had one. Oh, here it is. Sunday, September 29th, a fall fun event for all at the Joy in Christ Lutheran Church. They were having a pumpkin patch, and all proceeds to benefit the community food packaging event, which is going to be held at the high school on November 23rd. I'll talk more about that. I'm on the board for that. But anyways, so 12 to 4 at the Joy in Christ Lutheran Church, you're going to have a pumpkin patch as a fundraiser, and that's on Route 18 right past Strawberry Valley.
Tim?
I'll yield my time to the chairman.
You yield your time to the chairman. All right. I do have one public announcement. It's a little long, but I'm going to read it anyway, because I think the Abington police have been doing
Did you just say, do I have to
Great
really read this
work.
whole thing?
Yeah, I did. So I decided that I would. Community Abington Police enroll another community initiative. As we continue to embody the slogan of community partners from Chief Majensky, our officers rolled out another community initiative this week. As officers respond to emergency calls, many find themselves searching for an address because the houses don't have house numbers mounted near the door, and this delays their response. So the 4 p.m. to midnight shift came up with the idea of going around town and looking to identify Abington residents who don't have visible numbers, and thought of stopping to talk with the homeowners to stress the importance of having numbers before an emergency happens. But wait, before they did this, they partnered with Lowe's in Abington, and through the generosity of manager Dave Holt and the assistant manager Bill Mullen, Lowe's has agreed to donate free house numbers to those whom the officers identifies as needing them. House numbers are not only convenient for finding addresses, but necessary for emergency responders to locate those in need. When responding to an emergency, minutes matter, so be sure that fire, ambulance, and police personnel can easily and quickly find your address. Homes should have address numbers placed in a position to be plainly legible and visible from the street or road fronting the property. These numbers should contrast with their background for greater visibility. Consider the following: script numbers, or numbers that are spelled out in words, may be aesthetically pleasing but are difficult to read quickly from the street. Brass or bronze numbers are difficult to see. Use numbers that contrast with the background. If the house is located more than 45 feet from the street, the number should be displayed on a fence, mailbox, or other appropriate place. Be sure that the view of the numbers is not obstructed by shrubs, trees, or decorations such as flags. Numbers should be clearly seen when approaching from either side of the house, and the first place we look is around the front door. If the numbers on your house are not visible or easy to read, it will take emergency personnel longer to reach you. Those extra minutes spent trying to locate properties can mean the difference between life and death. So take time now to be sure your house numbers are able to be seen from the street to help emergency responders find you faster. Officers continue to look around town and see if your home doesn't have a number, and they will stop and give you a coupon for the free numbers at Lowe's. You will not be able to get the numbers without the coupon. If there's anyone from Abington that doesn't have a house number installed, you can contact Sergeant Kevin Cutter at 7818-783232, extension 5282, or Deputy Chief Chris Cutter. Okay, so I wanted to get that.
Mr. Chairman, if I could just make a note, I'd just like to commend the, last week, I think it was Wednesday, was the grand opening of the third 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever you call them, the second batch of pickleball courts. So that was a good night, and the lights there, they were dedicated. And also Saturday night was the 100th anniversary of the American Legion and the building, so that was a great, people probably saw the Black Hawk helicopter flying around town, but that landed behind the Legion. It was kind of a surprise, so that was a good night too, so congratulations to both those groups.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, any public comment? Don't forget, public comment has to be anything that is on the agenda. Anyone that has public comment? Good evening. Name and address, please.
Evening. My name is Brady Thomas. I am the current union president for the Abington Police Department. I don't currently live in town. I have previously for the past 20 years, and my parents still call this town home. My purpose here tonight is to speak to a couple of the items on the agenda. They speak to a lot of the issues that have gone on at the police department, and I'm here on behalf of my fellow members who can't be here tonight. So, the first topic that I'd like to talk about is that you have the subcommittee that's been formed in regards to the review of the police department and the ongoing turnover issue that we have had for the past years. Everybody knows that over the past years, we have seen numerous officers leave this department for reasons unbeknownst to any of us. Good or bad, those officers had their reasons for leaving. The number of experienced officers who have left this department has left us with an average work experience of about 3 years, which in a town this size might not sound that alarming, but it should be. Because there are a lot of things that, as a police officer, you can't be taught, and that you only learn by performing your job on a daily basis. And many of our experienced officers that we do have left are sergeants. And of that group, there's about 3 of them who will be reaching their years for retirement in the coming years. So the town will be left with a police department that, on average, will have years of service less than probably 15 years, and some with only more than 5 years. I've only been on the department for approximately 2.5 years, and I am badge number 6, which in itself is alarming to myself, because for someone to reach that height of a badge number, it speaks to how many guys have left since I've even been there. And this issue of the subcommittee looking into it is just to see why these officers who have left decided to do so, for good or for bad.
Not to interrupt you, but I will. But I think we'll hear from the subcommittee tonight and what they're going to expect from that review.
Right, and that's
not just on the number of officers left. There's a lot more that's going to be in that review. So I just want you to be aware of that.
and I am aware of that. I understand that.
Okay,
I understand.
It sounded like you weren't, so I want to make
No,
sure that you
I am. I understand that.
Okay.
But that retention issue, I know is why that this subcommittee was eventually formed, because my predecessor stood up here before me multiple years ago and asked for this review, and it has taken multiple years for this to finally come to light and to actually happen. And I think it's something that this town and the people of this town deserve to know why their officers who they've paid to be trained, paid to come here and serve, have decided to leave.
Right.
And that's something that everybody in this town deserves to know.
But the review is not based just on the officers.
And I understand that. I understand it's not based on that, but that, and you can confirm whether you want to or not, that is one of the major issues of why it was formed. Moving on, the second issue that I'd like to discuss, and I know that it's not open for public discussion, but it's one that's going into executive session. I understand that. It's in regards to the Abington Police Department and the contract that we currently have with the town.
Yeah, and that's an executive session, and I don't think that we can discuss that, so.
I understand, but I'd like to make a comment on it anyways, because it's still,
We have a policy, whether or not you, chairman, wishes to enforce that, that's up to you.
Yeah, and on the agenda, but it's under executive session, so I'd ask that you not address that.
okay, well,
Okay.
and I just let you know, it is something that, again, speak to a lot of the issues that have gone on with this town, and the fact that it's even on this again should be something that should show this town that there's a lot of issues, not just with the police department, but how things have gone negotiation-wise with us.
Right. But that's why we have it in executive.
And that's
session,
fine,
so we
but
can
that's,
discuss that.
okay. All right, well, I mean, I just hope that the subcommittee, when formed, and when you guys finally, if you have chosen a company, or when you finally choose a company, that you do your review the best that you can, unbiased as best, and you look at all the facts that are presented to you, given to you by people that you talk to, current, former, and that you form the best decision that you can for this town. because this town deserves a lot more than having officers on a yearly basis continue to leave. And I know that there are officers here that they're all night in, night out, and we hate watching our friends that we form, that we go to the academy with, that we work with on a daily basis. We hate watching them leave and go to neighboring towns. For whatever reason it is, we want them to stay, and we would like to stay in this town. But for those reasons, for each officer, they're unknown, so.
And I'm sure you'll stick around for the 7:20 hearing.
Yep, I'll be here.
We'll go over that review. Okay. All right, any other public comment? Okay, we did have, let's see, 6:30, update from the dog park / Friends of the Dog Park Committee. We have a spokesman. We do, okay.
Spokeswomen.
Spokeswomen, I'm sorry. Person, politically correct, I guess. Again, if you would just give your names and we'll go from there.
Sure. I'm Sue McHugh. What else did you need? Just names? Sorry. Address?
So, McHugh is good.
Okay. And this is?
I'm Lauren Sweeney.
Yeah. Okay, so you want to know a little bit about the dog park?
Yes.
We opened on August 10th. We had hundreds of dogs and their owners that day. It was a beautiful day out. So far, things have been going really well. You know, there's still some operational details that, of course, we're working out. The Board of Selectmen's committee kind of morphed into the Friends of Abington Dog Park. We are finishing up the paperwork to be an official nonprofit group to work with the town on running the park. The Friends group has a 7-member board. We're still trying to fill out a couple of seats. The board members have to be Abington residents, but the meetings are open to anybody who's interested, whether you're a dog owner or not, just to come and talk about issues that may arise. We had our first meeting a couple weeks ago. About a dozen people came by, and it was pretty productive. One of the things we need to iron out is exactly what the Friends group will take care of and what the town will take care of, because this is a town property. And there's a lot of things that we went in knowing that we would have to take care of. You know, we plan to continue to fundraise to pay for supplies, everything from, the dog waste bags to upgrades that we might need in the future. We're willing to organize all the volunteer cleanups, when the winter ends and the snow melts. We'll have volunteers going out to respread stone and respread stone dust as needed. We're working on organizing volunteers to pick up the trash and that kind of thing. We had hoped, Ken, tell me if you want to step in here.
Go right in, you're on a roll.
I'm doing great.
You're doing good. I'd like to see you,
Yeah, okay. We also said that we would be happy to take care of, landscaping, snow removal, non-emergency repairs. We went into this, when we started this effort 3 years ago, we knew that we didn't want to ask for a lot of town money because there are a lot of issues in town that are competing for the funds that are available. And so we are very cognizant of that. Even though it's town property, we are fully aware that, we wanted this park. We're going to keep fundraising. We could use a little help from the town as far as, I believe Ken met with the DPW chief this week. And some of the things that we had asked for, is if there are emergency repairs needed, something happens to the gate at the park, or the water features start leaking, that we could call the DPW for emergencies like that. And it seemed like John Stone was behind that, turning the water off and on for the winter, like that kind of stuff. We had asked about trash collection, and right now it appears that the town will pick up the trash once it's up at the curb. With the strike that was happening, we got forgotten for a couple of weeks, but we're back on track, hopefully. We are working with volunteers right now to try to collect the trash within the park and get it back up to the curb, once a week. And we're investigating some companies that might be able to do that because it does become a very heavy job.
We're also looking at the senior tax rebate program that a lot of people work at the compost site. We're asking maybe if someone, maybe a user of the dog park would be interested in that. I've already talked to Suzanne at the senior center, and she said it's a perfect opportunity. Someone gets them, I think, $600 off their taxes if they work X amount of hours, so maybe they can come a couple times a week. That would start in January. I come a couple times a week and just empty the trash, so hopefully we can get somebody that fits the bill in that regard.
And the Stanton Foundation is, it makes available 3 capital improvement grants once you open, a year after opening, 18 months, and 24 months. And so things like, right now we have water only on the big dog side of the park. So our first grant might be to ask for water getting extended to the little dog side. Things like building shade could fall under that kind of grant. Anything else you can think of?
Lauren doesn't want to talk. You can tell.
Apparently not.
I think the fun part of it, right?
Oh,
We don't really know yet.
yeah, in addition to the, logistical operational stuff that we're still, nailing out, the last few months before we opened, we were so desperate just to get the park open that figuring out who was going to take out the trash was kind of like, we'll deal with that later, so we're working on that. There were a couple lingering construction things. Once the park opened, lights are still being installed, solar lights that will just provide some security at night. We're going to be working with the Senior Center and the Pickleball Association to upgrade, share the cost of upgrading all the surveillance cameras around the area there. And I believe that there's,
In the porta potty, we're splitting.
oh yeah, we shared the cost of the porta potty with the pickleball people. It's like a tongue twister right there.
Lauren says one thing, it's a porta potty.
And, and there's still.
Say it very loud either.
So the porta potties. And, there's still some wetlands work that we're working with the Conservation Commission and the town manager on to get that taken care of. You guys have any questions? We kind of live and breathe this, and we assume everybody knows everything that's happening with the dog park, and of course you're not immersed in it, but.
Okay, any questions?
Good job.
No?
Great job.
Great job.
I don't have a question, but I do have a proclamation, so. A proclamation for Susan McGue and Lauren Sweeney, September 23rd, 2019. When Sue McHugh saw a need for a place to walk her dog, she jumped into action. With the help of Lauren Sweeney, they partnered to make the dream of a dog park a reality. These women have worked hard and employing every fundraising strategy known to man. They have raised over $20,000, well over their initial goal of $17,000. A little history. Starting in March of 2016, they created the Abington Dog Park Facebook page. They presented the idea of a dog park at a selectmen's meeting, and soon a dog park committee was formed with select board members and members of the community. They researched and brought the Stanton Foundation grant information to the town, resulting in the dog park being built. For the next 2.5 years, Lauren and Sue were busy. They started a GoFundMe page, held what will soon be 4 canine costume contests, hosted a Barkapalooza event. They planned, organized, and ran many varied and successful fundraisers, including paint nights, selling candy at every Abington Celebrates weekend, numerous raffles, pet pictures with Santa, hosted a shopping night, and more. Since the spring of 2016, Lauren, Sue, and other dog park committee members have spent countless evenings away from home and family attending hundreds of meetings, including Selectmen, Senior Center, Abington Celebrates, Conservation Committee, and of course, Dog Park Committee meetings. On April 28th of this year, after receiving from the Stanton Foundation a check in the amount of $188,000, Sue and Lauren organized the groundbreaking. Soon after that, they quickly received a crash course in Construction 101 and remained heavily involved in the day-to-day progress of the project until completion. The park opened a little over a month ago on August 10th with a packed crowd of excited dogs and owners. Thanks to Sue and Lauren's planning, the grand opening was a great success, and the Abington Off-Leash Dog Park has since turned into a very active community center for humans just as much as for their pets. Sue and Lauren did not stop when the park opened. They are still planning fundraisers, have created an Amazon wish list on the dog park Facebook site, which is now 2,000 members strong. They are still selling bricks, t-shirts, and now sweatshirts to continue raising funds for upkeep and future repairs. They have also set up a Friends of Abington Dog Park group, along with the board of directors, to oversee the park moving forward. These two ladies have done it all, from packing dog treats in bags for the grand opening to packing something else in bags, helping with cleanup duties. Now, therefore, we, the Abington Board of Selectmen, on behalf of the town of Abington and its residents, recognize Susan McHugh and Lauren Sweeney for filling a need and making a dog park for the town of Abington reality. This dog park would not have been possible without your hard work, dedication, and perseverance, and your achievements are acknowledged by the town of Abington with the thanks and appreciation by the Board of Selectmen. I'd like to present you both with these proclamations.
Shake your hand. Thank you very much. Great job. Great job. Great job, Alita. Good job, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
The look on your face when family walked in. That was worth the price of
They
admission.
do have family here, so
We appreciate it. Thank
we
you.
appreciate it, we really do. Good job, good luck. Thank you. All righty. Uh, 640, request for a commercial garage license for Andy Phi Nguyen, DBA South Shore Auto Gallery at 15 Groveland Street. Is Mr. Nguyen here? Come up, please. And I'll read this. The Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Monday, September 23rd at 6:40 in the Carter Hearing Room, 500 Glenowitz Way, on the application of a commercial garage license for Andy Fine Nguyen. Hopefully I'm saying that fairly well. DBA South Shore Auto Gallery at 15 Groveland Street. I need a vote to open the meeting. Public hearing.
I'll make a motion to open the hearing.
Second. Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. Welcome.
Welcome, thank you.
All right. We'll leave it up to you.
I don't know what to say.
Want to introduce yourself and just let people know what you're going to be doing? And
Yeah, I tried to open the garage in 15 Loring Street. To do like basic cars, doing like transmission, engine work, do some of like suspension work, some stuff like that.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
What's currently on that property now? Is there a garage there?
Yeah, this is the garage right over there.
Is it open or?
Used
Oh,
car
no.
lot.
It's a used car lot?
Yeah.
I think they have permission for 30 cars for sale. And we're looking for 8 customers, 5 employees. Let's say on the application. doesn't it?
The application says total number of cars on property 10.
Okay.
So that'd be all the cars you would have on the property at a time?
No, that's the guy, he have a auction license dealership. I just rent the place for garage.
Okay. So he already has a license for what he's doing
Yeah.
there, and you're just renting out the garage
Yeah.
for him to...
You're just doing repairs, you're not
Yeah.
selling cars, right?
No.
Okay.
Any other questions from the board?
It looks like this, counting real quick, I'm counting like 41 spots, 42 spots, and looks like the car dealer has asked for 30. So I'm just not sure. I should recall there's some other spots over there too.
Dude, you're not selling the cars.
What, Jim?
No, he's not selling the cars, however, if we've already approved a license for X amount of cars on that property, and he's asking for a license for 10 more cars on the property, we can't exceed the number of cars that,
Oh, I see what you're saying here.
I'm just not sure what's approved for the car license. I see 30 for sale, but I also see 8 customers and 5 employees, that makes 43, which is the total of what spots I count. So I'm just confused as to whether we can allow a used car license for that many, and then another 10 for the commercial garage license. That's my question. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
On the spots marked up, we ask when people come with the licenses, they mark the spots, and I see 43 spots. I'm just not sure how many the used car dealer was approved for. I don't have the, if this,
But Ken, on the picture that I'm seeing, I see 10 spots marked.
correct.
That's 10. Is that the 10 you're requesting?
Yes, yes.
I see what you're saying.
So that's gonna take away 2 of his sale spots.
10 with the white out on them, those 10
Yeah,
spots.
that's what I'm assuming, the
Yeah,
whiteout.
spots.
Okay, that leaves 13 spots. That leaves, help me out here.
30?
33 spots. Now, we approved, it looks, if what's up in the right-hand corner says 8 customer, 5 employees, and 30 for sale, that's 43. I'm not sure what we approved before, so maybe we could ask the town manager if he has that on record.
Nancy's looking to see.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
License right now, so there's
You
no-
see what I'm trying to get at, though, right? I mean, if we approved 43 spots for the used car dealer, we
And that would
don't
be-
have 10 spots for this gentleman.
Yes, so 43 in total.
Yeah, he's got
both
43 in
operations,
total.
Correct. And we run into this problem before, actually, I think right up the street from that, where there was a lot of duplication.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. We're next door to this place, so.
Pretty much, yeah.
So South Shore Auto Gallery has this now, right? Is that what I'm seeing?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I've actually go to the Dunkin' Donuts across the street, and I saw, saw them do business there, so they got a pretty full parking lot, so cars there.
Go right ahead.
The Class 2 lists 30 cars for sale, 8 customer, 5 employee.
That's 43, correct? And I count 43 spots on the whole property, so.
So would they have to change their license
Were
to
there-
have less spots for this lease to be, well, for us to approve?
If you only want 43, how many? 40?
I don't think they can fit any more.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
you
43.
would, I mean, and I don't expect that you voluntarily, the other license would be lowering their own vehicle capacity, so it would make sense to do that.
It looks like, I mean, South Shore Auto Gallery is almost like, I don't know, what would you say, leasing like 10 spots to them and,
Yeah, it's part of his
The owner of the
lease. He gets the
property.
garage and 10 spots.
10 extra spots.
I mean, does South Shore Auto Gallery people own the whole lot? Or they, I think they're renting, they are renting because that's what they told us when they came in. Yeah, I paid no attention.
The used car has how many?
so do we think South Shore Auto has all this and he's letting them have 10, letting Mr. Nguyen have 10?
Well, I would think so, because he's the one that's gonna be in violation if he has more cars on his property. That's the landlord's issue, not his.
Yeah, but a social auto gallery, the landlord, or are they renting too?
Nancy, do we know that? If South Shore Auto is leasing that property, or do they own it? Do we know?
He owned it,
He owns the property.
yep.
So Social Auto Gallery has 43 spots. Social Auto Repair is looking for 10.
But 10 of his
Right.
43 is that's what I'm gathering.
Right, but Social Auto Gallery came in and asked us specifically for 43 spots. And we approved it. Now they're coming back and saying, well, they're not saying, but second party saying they don't need the 10 spots.
He's
So,
gonna
yeah, I mean,
lease them
Right.
to him.
I would prefer Social Auto Gallery come in and change their license. To say we don't need these 10 spots, we'd like them to.
But I don't think we can prevent South Shore Auto Gallery from leasing the 10 spots to this gentleman's three.
Bottom line is, they still can't, I'm sorry, they
Right.
still can't have more than 43. That's his issue. That's not, I mean, that's,
No, it's not, because they've got a license now for 43 cars.
right. That's what we approved.
And then we're gonna approve license for another 10 cars.
Not
so-
for another 10.
Right, that's what I'm
But
saying, not another 10.
Not another 10. You can still only have 43 cars. Who he leases those spots out to, that's on him, in my opinion.
How are you breaking down the 10 cars? Is that employees and?
No, that's just for the customer,
Customers for repair?
yeah.
How many more spots do you need for employees?
We have the 3 spots already, right at the, behind of the,
Right there.
yeah, there's 3 spots for an employee.
At the next meeting, they're gonna come in and lease another 6 spots out to someone.
How many bays in the garage?
3,
3, so you could leave 3 cars in the bay overnight.
yeah.
I mean, I don't have, well, personally, I don't have a problem with it. And again, I would sort of agree with what Tim said, is South Shore Auto Gallery, they have to, if they go over the limit, even renting those 10 spaces, that would be their problem. I don't think it would be Mr. Guillen's, and I think it's a hard reason to deny him the application, but that, again.
Yeah, I would just be aware, that they're gonna, the building inspector, I'm sure, will be looking to make sure that you guys aren't exceeding your limit of cars
Oh,
on the
no,
property.
no, definitely
At
not.
all times.
For
So,
the
I mean.
whole property.
What's that?
For the whole property.
Right, for the whole, I mean,
Yeah.
if your landlord gets shut down and it goes out of business, I don't know what's in your lease, but that could be trouble for you, so.
Yeah.
If there's nothing, do you want to take comment
Did the
before I
owner-
get a motion?
Did the owner tell you could have 10 spots, or?
Yeah.
He did.
And that's in his agreement, that's in his lease agreement, so. Any public comment on this? Okay. A motion to, do we vote first or close first?
Close first. I'll make a motion to close the hearing.
Okay.
A second.
Any further discussion? Nope. Okay, all those in favor of closing the hearing?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous? All right. Motion to approve the license?
I'll make a motion to approve the license at 15 Groveland.
As chairman, I'll second. Any further discussion?
I have a problem with our board approving 43 cars for, what's it called? Social Auto Gallery, and then a couple of meetings later approving another 10 car spots to another company. I would prefer that Social Auto Gallery come in and ask us to lower the number of cars that go to them.
It's not another 10 cars. Like, I mean, I know we're on the same page, but I just want to make sure that we're clear to the public. It's not another 10 cars. He's 43 cars. It's staying 43
He's
cars.
got 43 spaces.
No, I understand completely. However, we approved Social Gallery to have 43 cars for their used car license. Now we're approving another car, 10 cars, for a commercial garage license. It's two different licenses. I mean, I have no problem if South Shore Auto Gallery wants to come in and say, you know, we want to change our number of cars, you're right. You know, I'm just afraid that
You could
Gonna
change
get
his car
overcrowded.
numbers to 0. And he's still gonna use the 10 spaces. It's not 10 new spaces, it's 10 existing spaces.
you want to give a license for no spots, then you go for it.
I think there's a standard, I mean, we at least should get some clarification from South Shore Auto Gallery. Next week, if there's 53 cars in the lot and we're getting complaints and everything else, we just approve 2 different licenses. Well, one approved, and we approve a second one.
But we
I
didn't
think
approve,
if-
we didn't approve 53, I mean, that wouldn't be on us.
It's still a license that we approve 43, and we're gonna be approving 10 tonight, if that's the case. I mean, if South Shore Auto Gallery is leasing to South Shore Auto Repair, I don't see any reason why he would be against it, coming in and clarifying or anything.
When do you hope to open?
After when I get the commercial license, and I have to go through all the stuff first. Yeah, I mean, the guys, he was a friend of my friend, he know him, that's why he told us to rent that place for him, to fix his car and fix the customer's car too. I don't think so. He reject like whatever he have there. He just told us like he give us like 10 space for our own personal customer or self. Like right now, I don't know how many cars he have in that spot, but he told me as long as the town will get approved for me to get the commercial, he don't mind to remove some car out there from his auto,
From the 10 spaces that he's given you.
yeah.
If we invited you back in 2 weeks at our next meeting and brought the landlord to, would that delay you in opening?
This has been delaying me about almost a month now. I'm trying to get everything approved, and
So you can't do anything else till you get this
Yes.
license? Okay.
And I'm not under the impression that, again, you may not get the vote to get the license. It might be better for us to postpone, I mean, because if we deny, he's gonna have to reapply again. Rick, am I correct? And
Yes.
it's gonna take a little bit more time. If we postpone, would be more beneficial. Tim,
Yeah, you can count votes. Yes, I would agree with you.
Tim, I'd ask you to withdraw your motion to approve the license. And then I think what we'll do, or if you don't want, you don't have to, but,
I think there's 3 to approve. Just do it.
and then maybe we vote to have, South Shore.
I'll leave it, I'm sorry,
Yep,
I'll leave
yep.
it up to you. If they vote on my motion, and I made a motion to grant you your license. If that does not pass, you would have to start Rick, correct me, start the process all
Correct.
over again.
Yes.
If it does not pass.
yes,
If we delay it and I withdraw my motion, we'll invite you back in 2 weeks, hopefully with your landlord to clarify some of the questions the board may have.
yeah, definitely.
Okay? So I'll withdraw my motion on your request.
So Tim, you withdraw your motion?
I do.
Okay.
I would make a motion that we
I withdraw my
approve,
second.
I would make a motion that we approve the license contingent upon receiving a new license application from South Shore Gallery telling us that they only need 33 spots.
I can second that. Let this guy get to work.
Those motions.
So,
again,
so if we were to get notice from now, between the next meeting or whatever, if it's tomorrow, then the
We've already
the
approved
vote
the
would
license
carry.
for 43, we know
Sure.
I'm fairly confident the board will approve a license for
Yeah.
43, so.
But that, so you're, just so I understand, you're asking for South Shore Auto Gallery to, they're gonna have to renew their license, knocking it down to
33.
33. So they have to go through the process, which could take longer than 2 weeks. Unless, maybe, or not.
Is there a fee? Yeah, there's a fee involved too.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ken, were you looking for a letter from the owner of the property in the Class 2 license?
Basically, yes.
That they're leasing 10 spaces and that that's going to be within the 43 that's been approved for his location?
Yep.
And if we were to get that as early as tomorrow even, that the license would be in force?
Right, and then
Okay.
obviously, the inspectors will go in and make sure that they're following the rules.
So we're not asking him to change his license, we're just asking for a letter saying what he
Confirming-
plans on doing
right.
with his
He's
license.
gonna lease 10 spaces to Mr. Wynn.
Sure.
That could be a win-win, because that could be a lot quicker for you. I mean, as soon as we get that letter in Town Hall's office, our vote will stand.
We basically, we don't want 53 cars there. We don't want more than 43
Exactly,
cars there
no,
at one time.
no,
Tight lot
no,
as
no.
it is, yeah.
Say a lot as it is with any emergency apparatus.
We've run into this problem
anything.
before, right next door to it, so.
Any further discussion? All right, on Ken's motion, all those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Again, we'll
think
hopefully see you soon.
I think Jim did initially.
Good luck.
All right. 6:45 is come and gone. Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Monday, September 23rd, 2019, at 6:45 in the Carter Hearing Room, 500 Glenwich Way, for change of location and entertainment license for the 10th District Brewing Company to 748 Brockton Ave. A motion to open the hearing.
Motion to open a hearing.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
All right.
Unanimous. All right. 10th District Brewing Company, available. Not that we haven't seen them.
I know, it's been a long time.
We've been busy.
Gentlemen, present your case.
Patrick Eddy, Dana George, obviously we've been here several times. So we temporarily closed down our business in April as we moved from 491 Washington to 748 Brockton Ave. We're getting closer to being done with that project and hoping to open in the very near future, in October sometime. We have our approval from TTV, our federal license. We received our approval from ABCC, and the last piece that we need is a pouring permit from the town like we had at our old location. And we're also requesting an entertainment license at our new location, as we will have significantly more space and to the delight of many more parking.
And the entertainment, the live music, would that be indoors or out?
We would like to do indoors and out. We have a very nice 700 square foot patio,
Approximately,
maybe.
yeah. Fenced-in patio.
It'll be fenced in. It will be between the two buildings. I'm not sure if you have a plan.
Yeah.
But it'll be between our building and the auto body shop. And it'll be fenced in, and entrance and exit from that space will be through the main building. There'll be an emergency exit, obviously. But it's not, open air that anybody can just wander up to.
And that would be till 10 o'clock.
And make
kinda
sure you get your
cross
hours right, because
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Wednesday to Friday? Is that what that says? Wednesday to Friday?
Wednesday through Friday would be 4 to 9.
4 to 9. And Saturday, 12 to 10?
Saturday, 12 to 9.
12 to 9.
And Sunday, 12 to 6. We're a little uncertain on the hours. We don't want to be too aggressive out of the gate.
Well, this says 12 to 5. I don't want you to have to come back for that extra hour on Sunday.
And you know they're gonna have to.
I know.
I'm just trying to avoid it.
Gotta get the whole game in, right?
12 to 6 would be great on Sunday.
I see a letter from Sean Walsh from Alcoholic Beverage Control. This was dated September 13th. As discussed this morning, we received an amendment application for the 10th District LLC for a change of location on 816, which is currently with an investigator, Lisa Watson. Lisa has not yet sent the application to the executive director for approval, but I expect that will be done next week at some point, which would be about now. For the pouring permit, the applicant additionally needs to submit a retail amendment to their license with the LLA in conjunction with the state amendment, similar to how Section 12 or Section 15 license would for their license. Since the pouring permit is associated with the state license, it is not part of the quota, but it is operated as a retail license and follows this process. I hope this is helpful. It's not helpful to me, so.
We were up against the time crunch to get onto this meeting. So we asked someone at the ABCC to let the town know that we have applied. The inspector has been out. We do have our permit from the ABC. We can certainly get a copy for the town. They have approved it. And that additional license that was, or the application that was requested, I think, Nancy, that's the thing we submitted to you that Friday morning.
Yeah, we haven't gotten
From the state?
But you don't need that in advance anyway.
Okay.
You don't need that in advance.
We have they've since sent us the certificate, so we can submit a copy of the license from the state if it would be helpful. We actually have next year's already, too.
But you don't think, Rick?
No, in all other liquor licensing situations, the state approval comes after the local licensing authority anyway, so that's not unusual.
Okay.
Is there still a farmer's pour license? Is that what it was called before?
Farmer Bros, yep.
And this is not to approve the license, correct, Mr. Town Manager? This is
This is the-
actually just a change of location on the
Correct.
current license they hold.
Correct. They don't currently have an They have an
And you want separate votes for the
Right,
change of locations in the entertainment license?
correct, yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the change of location to the new location of 748 Brockton Ave, Abington, Mass.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify aye. Aye.
Do we have to, if these hours are different than the last license, do we have to make a, is that all right?
Oh, I'm sorry, go back, I should have closed the hearing before we voted. So I'll vote,
Yeah,
take a
I thought
motion.
everybody's here to
Sorry,
talk.
huh?
You can still close, we still have another vote to take, so that's fine.
Okay.
But,
The answer's no.
Doesn't-
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, you're okay.
Ask if anybody wants to talk.
Any public comment?
We do.
Okay.
Hi. My name's Ed Jordan, this is my wife Laurie.
Can you take the stand, please? Thank you.
The stand.
The stand, the podium, whatever you want, I call it the stand.
Hi, we live at 124 Green Street. We directly abut the RIP property of the beverage company. Now, what got my eyes and attention was the entertainment, and now it's outdoor entertainment. I'm curious on what type of entertainment this is gonna be, so I need more knowledge of that. Is this gonna be voted on at another time?
No, this will be voted on tonight. Their application is for live music.
Okay?
I will tell you, in past, when we've given live music, we've actually gave them like a trial basis, because that way people get the neighbors will have a chance. We did it for the Ale House, we did it for, what's the Italian restaurant, in Yaz's place.
Well, yeah, there's also a liquor store there, and they've had some live music on a few nights, and it's pretty
50 cent?
disturbing.
50 cent, you mean?
And I'm a rock and roller, I mean, believe me,
Well,
but
can I say something? The only thing we've got before this was it was supposed to be opening a recycling thing. This is the first we heard of this. It came in the mail, registered mail, so we had to sign for it. This is all new to us. We never knew of anything. Is this a bar? What is it, it's actually going to be? A brewery? What is it? What is it?
I'm sure happy to talk about that.
Yeah.
So this is not a new business for us. We were in operation in Abington Center for roughly 4 years. It's a very
At the
small.
lights.
Correct.
Okay.
It's a small brewery. We make our own product. We sell it on site. We fill growlers and can fill cans for people to take it home. It's not a bar. It's certainly not. I think when we first came to the town meeting to get our original license, there were a lot of similar questions about what is this thing? It's,
Yeah.
you know, is it a bar? Is it a, but I mean, if you, I don't know if this is the kind of thing you'd be interested in, but there are several of these in the area, Braintree, Weymouth, I mean, they're all around the South Shore. And if you were to go to one of those, I think you'd quickly get a sense of what it is. It's definitely not a typical bar. It's a different crowd, different atmosphere.
But it's still a bar.
No, technically not, no.
We prefer to call it a brewery and a tap room, is what most.
Brewery tap room with entertainment.
Correct.
So,
And just to touch on your entertainment question.
Just because you are right behind me.
If
You are
if you go to
right
places like this,
there.
just to touch on Patrick's point, we're not talking like a 5-piece metal band, you
Yeah.
know, that's gonna like break windows in your house. I mean, this is, you're talking like a guy sitting on a stool playing acoustic guitar. I mean, that's,
Yeah.
you can go to any, like Patrick said, there's a brewery in pretty much every town now. And when you hear the term live entertainment, I understand your concern. It's not what I'm assuming you're thinking it is.
Yeah, well, we've been there 3, going on 4 years.
Yeah.
And we keep the complete acre cleaned, groomed, and we use it. And you guys are directly on the other side
yeah,
of the
you're
chain
on the other
link
side of the
fence.
fence.
I think if you ask
And
around
when we
town,
saw
a lot of
entertainment, we said, oh, Jesus.
And before that, we didn't know anything about this. I saw your place up in the corner there, the thing. Didn't know really, give it a thought, because it's in with the rest of the commercial. It's not in my backyard, so, but, that's what I was wondering. So, yeah, then you go in for entertainment. We went from recycling, just a recycling, which I thought it was part of the package store. They just wanted to do like a recycling thing. So like, oh, well, that's fine.
Yeah, that's what we had in the.
And then
But-
this, so I don't really know how I feel about that. But
Yeah, I mean-
entertainment is, it can be anything, you put entertainment, you can cover yourself with anything. I don't know, it sounds wonderful, little guy sitting there with a guitar. I just don't want to be, don't be mad at me, but I live there.
Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah, I don't want to be a jerk, but.
And we're certainly not looking to, you know,
No,
make
and,
enemies of the
yeah,
neighbors.
and
Yeah.
there's already sticks and stones there, so every once in a while, and it brings.
Completely different type of
Booze
establishment.
brings, you know,
Completely
more.
different type of establishment.
And if I could, Mr. and Mrs. Jordan, these guys have been before us a lot of times, not,
They have.
not for any problems.
Okay.
Because they want to extend their hours, and they've been a great business. I don't think you're gonna get, the only time they have a really big crowd at their place now is for St. Patrick's Day, because it's on the parade route. You're not gonna have that problem unless they change the parade route. But I think you should give them a chance, because the Sticks and Stones, there's some heavy metal bands playing there.
Yeah,
you
it
know,
looks
and
down further
and
though,
it's
but
not
I mean,
gonna
and
be-
we still hear that, and then.
I'm actually your neighbor, I don't live too far from you folks, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I could, if it was loud, I'd probably be able to hear it, so.
Yeah, I mean, we believe in live and let live, but then we saw
Yeah, I just-
entertainment,
but when
and
it-
we
and-
saw
and-
you right
And if I
directly
would,
behind us.
I'll make a motion to try it on a temporary basis anyway, so if, that way, you would know you could come back the next time, and, you know, if you have concerns with the noise, you know, by
Yeah,
all
I
means,
just,
come
I
in.
just had visions
That'd
of
be
maybe
fine.
being involved with
Ken, how does it
dogs
taste?
Yeah,
out
it's not
there.
that kind of place.
Yeah.
You know, dogs out
Certainly
there
not.
barking, a dog coming out with a,
That would be fine.
okay, so at least we know, but this is the first we've heard of it. It's
Yeah.
right there, so
We-
that's
Understood,
all good.
yeah.
Yeah, the last thing we've got from
Are you
the
willing to
town
come back in
was
6
they
months
were
if
gonna
we're
put a
in-
recycling plant
Recycling.
behind us.
Mr. Chairman, I want to point out that for this license, the schedule is January through December, so the end of December, this is going to be before the board for a renewal with all the other licenses anyway. So at that time, you can
So
see if
in less
it's
than
working.
6 months, you'll have a chance to.
Okay,
Okay.
that's fair. All right, good luck with it,
Keep in mind, we're
guys.
behind you.
Thank you.
What, do we have a motion already?
Well, we need a motion now to close the public hearing if no one else has any other.
Yep, motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
Anybody else have anything to say?
Seconded.
Second, do we have a second? Oh, okay. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now vote on the entertainment license, since we are voted on the change of address, change of location.
And you didn't check off recorded music, jukebox, or nudity, so it's just live music, so that's, just don't.
That's it.
I would make a motion to, and ask, if the motion passes, ask, you know, just remember that you do have neighbors, that's all.
Of course.
I did like the fact that the location is between the two buildings, the lounge is between the two buildings, and really, you aren't gonna affect too many people, half the noise is gonna go out to the main route there, so I would make a motion to approve the entertainment license portion of this application. With the hours listed But Sundays, 12 to 6.
And 9 on Saturday,
Yeah.
12 to 9 on Saturday?
I'd like to change the Saturday to 9, because that's what we did with the Ale House and Yaz, is we have to
Excuse me.
music stop by 9.
Okay.
4 to 9, 4 to 9, and 12 to 6.
Just consistent with 4 to 9, 4 to 9, 12 to 6.
9 o'clock, okay, on Wednesday through Friday?
Yeah, Wednesday through Friday, 4 to 9, yes, please.
I would make that part of my motion.
I'll second this motion.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right, gentlemen, good luck.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
See you in a
When are you open?
while.
When are you opening?
Hopefully at the end of October,
See you in
the
a
latest.
while.
Tell them you're open right now.
Yeah, I know.
Been open for a week.
Now, this request for livery, I don't gotta open, right?
I don't see the public hearing notice with it. So,
All righty, 6:50, haven't come and gone. Request for a livery license, Mark Bowdy, 1 Woodlands Way. Is Mark available? Did I say that name, Hop?
Foodie.
Foodie, okay, sorry.
Sorry.
My apologies.
No problem.
Go ahead, Mark.
How you doing? So I was contacted, the town wanted to see if I can get a limo license. I'm currently, have livery plates, and I drive for Uber and Lyft, but I wanted to be licensed through the town to operate. It's just me, yeah, so it's one car. It's at my place of residence. I contacted the town, and I had a fire inspection done by Deputy Howe, and he came and he didn't find anything wrong. He didn't see any issue with it. I also called the police department, but after speaking with Nancy, I think that's been taken care of, because I'm not sure that they had to come out.
yeah.
So, it's one vehicle, it's my own.
Any questions from the board?
What kind of car is it?
It's an Acura MDX. Just, yeah.
Tim's always looking for a more service there.
So
Take
most of
his
my-
lovely wife out.
Most of my customers are like people going to the airport early in the morning. I mostly do like business travel, either on the Cape or on the South Shore of the airport, and I try to focus mostly in the mornings.
And you rent the property you're at now?
Yeah, it's a rental, yeah.
And your landlord is aware that you run a business?
No, I mean, it's just me and my one car on the property. I mean, it's not, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a problem in the lease. I mean, because in a sense, it's just, I don't really run the business out of the property. That's where the car is, and that's where I'm at, you know what I mean?
You're on TV, so now's a good time, you can plug your business if you want.
Okay, it's Star C limo.
Is that on?
Thought I just tried to do that
Is
when I was
Sorry.
that on Facebook?
Tim
or is that-
ignored.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to, before I wanted to get approved by the town before I really, started.
Oh, then hold off for a second.
But, yeah, so.
I would make a motion to approve the livery license for Star Sea Livery, Mark Howdy.
I'll second.
A couple of seconds. All right, any further discussion? Any comment from public? The opportunity? No. Okay. Motion been made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you so much, I really appreciate it. Thank you, thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks so much.
Good luck for Star of the Seas Livery.
Thank you very much, I really appreciate it.
Search them on Facebook now.
All right, at 7, coming on. Update from the Abington Affordable Housing Committee.
I've asked Bruce Hughes to speak on behalf of the Abington Affordable Housing. I asked him to be brief.
To be brief,
If
too late.
we know Bruce.
Well, that stack of papers in his hand says otherwise.
It's not as bad as it looks, guys. Hi. Good evening, guys. I'm Bruce Hughes, 69 Randolph Street. I'm chair of I was appointed to this Abington Affordable Housing Committee. I will just give a brief synopsis of where we are now. You guys appointed us. We had our first meeting on August 21st, 2019, attending with Ken Coyle, Jennifer Brady Sullivan, myself, a guy by the name of Bill Cormier is on the committee. We hope to see him sometime. Our Our first meeting, we did introductions. We accomplished a bunch of things. We did the organization of the committee. Committee members discussed the organization of the committee. After discussion, it was voted unanimously to be organized this way. Officers will consist of a chair, a vice chair, and a recording secretary. Terms will be for 1 year. The following officers were elected unanimously: Bruce Hughes, chair; Jennifer Brady Sullivan, vice chair; and Ken Coyle, recording secretary. We then moved on to determination of the name of the committee. The committee discussed what the name of the committee should be. After much discussion, it was voted unanimously to name the committee the Abington Affordable Housing Committee, an acronym AHHC is the planner. I love acronyms. We moved on to the determination of the purpose of the committee. The committee discussed what the purpose of the committee should be. It was unanimously voted that the committee should, 1, advocate for affordable senior housing in Abington, and 2, advocate for help for first-time home buyers in Abington. Then we discussed a mission statement, and we decided it would use elements of the mission statement of the Andover, Boxford, and Pembroke Housing Committees. And I did a draft of it, and I sent it out to the committee by email, and I'll read it, because it's important to have this on the record. The Abington Affordable Housing Committee will consider housing needs in Abington, with particular attention to housing opportunities that are affordable to households at all income levels and abilities for our current and future generations, and to make recommendations to the town manager and the board of selectmen on steps the town can take to support the creation of new housing options to address these needs and to maintain affordable housing in Abington. The committee will promote the creation and preservation of housing and housing programs that promote affordable subsidized CPA housing for seniors with low income, promote moderately priced housing for seniors with mid-level income, promote market-rate housing for seniors with no income restrictions, assist seniors to age in place in their own homes, ensure that people with incomes below the area median can access an affordable place to live, promote assistance for first-time home buyers, and create enough affordable housing so the town of Abington meets, at a minimum, the state's benchmark that 10% of the town's total housing units be affordable to those whose incomes are at or below 80% of the area median income. So the committee voted to accept this. And taking on this, I contacted the town clerk. We are on the town website. Our minutes are there. I also set up meeting schedules so that we can meet downstairs on the second Wednesday of the month. So I took this upon myself as the chair to get these actions done, and we've done this. The second meeting we had, again, in the minutes, new business next steps. The committee will seek to meet with the Abington Community Preservation Act Committee to discuss housing goals in Abington. Chair Hughes provided the committee with CPA committee meeting dates, because I'm vice chair of the CPA committee, for 2019-20. Funding application deadlines and copies of the CPA funding application. Possible projects for Community Preservation Act, acronyms are us. Funding applications include looking at the feasibility and cost to renovate the center school for housing, hiring a consultant to look at housing issues in Abington, creation and funding of an affordable housing trust, creation and funding of a first-time home buyers program, and doing a study of creating additional senior housing on town-owned land off of Shaw Ave adjacent to existing town-owned senior housing. This is the Vincent Blanchard Gardens. It's 71 Shaw Ave. Other business, Chair Hughes said that Old Colony Planning Council is doing a housing production plan for Abington Part as the District Local Technical Assistance Program, which means the town isn't paying for this. Old Colony is my employer, and this is something that OCPC is doing. I said at the time, the plan will be finished by the fall. Well, I brought something with me tonight. I'm not going to give you guys copies of it because it's a draft, but this is the draft housing production plan, which is undergoing peer review right now. And so what is a housing production plan? It's a proactive strategy for planning and developing housing that meets community needs and also meets the 10% target set for each community across the Commonwealth through Chapter 40B. These production plans are required to contain the following 3 elements: an assessment of the town's housing needs, goals to assist with meeting the needs, and strategy toward achieving the goals. And these follow the guidelines put out by the state. And I brought copies of the PowerPoint presentation that tells exactly what a housing production plan is. So, as you can see, the committee has been appointed, we've met, we've established ourselves. Our next meeting, a couple of weeks, well, actually next week, well, a couple of weeks. We're continuing to work with this, and we know the deadlines for the CPA funding the projects, and we have some in mind. It's important that the CPA, there's like $40,000 available right now in the current CPA budget for housing. And this is something we want to take advantage of, because a lot of communities use CPA funding for housing goals. I think it's a need. If you read, and I've begun to read this project, and this is a great book, and you'll all see it, but it outlines the needs of the town as far as housing goes. And this is going to be, one thing it doesn't have in it is identifying where the properties are in town. Ken's talked about this. We would identify town-owned land, for example, that could be conceivably used for housing. Jennifer Brady Sullivan is on the Abington Housing Authority. Of course, Ken is a selectman, and I'm a planner. So I think you've got some really qualified people on. We do have some qualified people on this committee. We're serious. We know what we're doing. I think it's going to be a good committee for the town. I think we've started work on it. So I just wanted to give this report to you folks. Trying to be as brief as possible, Ken, I'm sorry. But I'm also believing thorough. This is on television, and I want to make sure that people in the community know what we're doing. And you guys know what we're doing. Do you have any questions?
Sounds like you guys are off to a great start.
Thank you.
Exciting.
Me too. I'm a planner. I get excited about this sort of thing.
You're an asset. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you. We done?
Any other questions? Anybody? All set?
All right. All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for your time, appreciate it.
Thanks, Bruce.
All right, 7:20, haven't come and gone. Update from the Police Department Management Review Subcommittee.
Actually, we didn't get a copy.
Ken, Kevin,
Kevin's gonna have to, because I don't have my copy in front of me. That came right from.
Is what you were looking for?
Thank you. You're welcome. It's 2 pages, though.
That's all I got.
It's 1 page.
Yep.
You wanna go first?
You can touch on it.
Kevin and myself met one time. We spoke a couple times on the phone too, just to iron out some details. And we thought, we were actually, I think, in agreement for the most part on pretty much everything. We felt that there's 3 main goals of this study. Let me start reading it, and you can break it down, if that's all right. I'll read the Abington Board of Selectmen is requesting an independent third-party review and audit of the Abington Police Department. The Selectmen request that you provide a detailed review and analysis with a focus on the 3 main categories in hopes that this information will help the town of Abington understand the current organizational culture and how morale is impacted by the culture. It's 3 different sections. I'll read the 3 main headings, and then maybe Kevin can take over and explain a little bit about each one. And this is what we're hoping on using for a bid document, basically, to let the people that we're going to ask to do the study, we're going to get bids, we have $30,000 from the town meeting. Number 1, retention, recruitment, and morale. Number 2, management and operations analysis and review. And number 3, again, these are the main 3 categories, moving the department forward. You want to touch upon some of those?
So retention, recruitment, and morale. There's 4 different things listed underneath this. Comprehensive study of the culture of the Abington Police Department, utilizing past and present employees' feedback. As we know, there's a turnover issue. There's a lot of past and present employees, so we're looking to find out what exactly is going on, get feedback, past, present, all employees, not just police officers. Again, with retention and recruitment, provide recommendations for recruiting, training, and retaining employees. We seem to not be retaining the employees. We'd like to keep them and find out ways that we can do that. Is there something that we need to look at, something further? Review and evaluate the current reserve intermittent auxiliary officer program for its effectiveness. Take a look at it, see how many there is in it, and exactly what's going on with it. Is it effective? Should we continue with it, expand it?
Right, is there a better method?
Is there a better method moving forward? And then the final thing under that would be review and determine if there is a benefit to the Abington Police Department leaving civil service, just to see if there is. Moving on to the second one, management and operations analysis review. three different categories here. Provide a review and analysis of the department's organizational structure, staffing levels, and staffing requirements by function, and make recommendations for improvements. Different things, this is going to break down the staffing requirements by function, patrol, let me see, traffic, detectives, different rank structure.
Right,
Where do we
chiefs,
stand now?
yeah,
Yeah.
deputy chiefs.
Where do we stand? What do we have? What do we need? Provide a review and analysis of the department policies and directives relating to career path development, recognition programs, and disciplinary practices.
Yeah, we've heard a lot about this, so we want to make sure that's focused on.
It's a big one. I mean, career path development, it feels like we don't have right now. We want to look into that and see what we can do. And review the overall culture of the Abington Police Department. Again, I think it all ties together. And the final part is moving the department forward. Four different categories here. Provide a future view of the Abington Police Department and its needs. So we want to look into projecting forward. What is the future? What do we need? What do we, as far as the town size and everything else? Determine the challenges facing Abington's new police chief and ideal qualities and attributes that the town leaders should be looking for in a chief relative to the current department and community's needs.
This is important because we know we're going to need a new chief, so this could help us maybe find the criteria or the attributes that we're looking for in a new chief.
Recommend strategies for Abington town officials to prepare for the current chief's imminent retirement. That is one the chief has put that in, so we need to start moving forward with this. So this will help us, guide us here. And the final part will be recommend any other improvements within the Abington Police Department that can be made to enhance overall service and department morale, both now and in the future. Another key part that, hopefully we can get some answers and some guidance.
And we mailed this to the other members of the board, just so in case they had any feedback for tonight's meeting.
Is there any feedback from you guys?
I thought it was good, pretty comprehensive. I thought you guys did a good job. I think that's good guidelines that will let the companies know whether that's something they can do or that's not something that's up their alley.
Also, Kevin and I would like to, whoever ends up getting the bid, we'll bring them in before us and just say, maybe if they have any questions on this or if we want to expand on any of this sort of
Clarify,
stuff.
yeah.
Exactly.
So what is your next step?
Next step would be to, I would ask the town manager's help for this, but we would think that we would be, hopefully with this document, we could go out to bid and actually send an invitation to bid to, we have a list of some companies, some consulting firms that have done works around here. Rick actually gave me one, the police at the town has given us one, so hopefully we can come and decide upon someone. And I think we would make that recommendation too. I have no problem with, after we get the bids. I am concerned. It doesn't seem like a lot. It's one page, and hopefully $30,000 will be enough.
Rick, what is the next step for?
Well, I think if you provide me what you have, and then we can format that into an RFP, not so much a bid, then we can define some timetables and we'll get them out. I think this is a professional service that doesn't require any posting in the goods and services bulletin, central register. This would be a situation where we can just target who we wish to send it to and to do it fairly simply.
And I think months ago I sent you a list of people that have done this work in the area and stuff like that, and I forwarded it to Kevin, so
Yes.
we'll look it over and give it, hopefully we can ask these people if they're interested in this job.
I've had
And
some contact with some of them, but I haven't followed up much. I know you gentlemen were designated to do this.
So will you guys continue as a subcommittee to work with Rick as it goes through the RFP
If that's all right
process?
with you folks, then maybe if you want.
I think that's known, but assumed anyway, I guess.
I mean, personally, I'd like to get a vote on this, you guys are okay with this, no problems?
A motion to accept the management review and audit.
Bid documents, is it bid?
What do you want to call it?
I would say scope.
Scope, yeah, that's what we were looking for, a scope.
All right, I'll make that motion that we accept.
You want to ask the audience?
Anybody from the audience?
Yeah, you don't have to, but.
Are any, we had people there earlier about any questions on this review that we're starting, if you want to comment on it?
Why go there, really?
What?
Why go there?
Have to lower the mic.
I know, I was gonna say, did she hear that? She heard me.
Deb Doopy, 1430 Bedford Street. I'm just curious, you've got a lot of the police officers that are going to be involved in this, that are still in the force. Is this going to be something that's going to be done anonymously so that there's no repercussions? I mean, sometimes there's repercussions when there's something like this going on. So I'm just curious, the officers that are still in Abington, I know you're going to be talking to the ones that have left. Is there going to be some kind of a stipulation that there's no repercussions?
If I could, I think that Kevin and I discussed a little bit about this, and obviously, people are sometimes afraid to talk.
Yeah.
When we decide on the company that's going to do it, we would ask them to allow them to have free access to all the records of everybody, and it would be anonymous, and I think the results of this would only come to us first.
Okay.
Correct.
All right.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Questions? No? Motion made by Jim.
I'll second.
Any further discussion on that motion? No? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous? All righty. Moving on to action, discussion items, approval of the September 9th, 2019 open session meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of September 9th.
Second it.
All right, any further discussion on the minutes? Okay, if not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous?
If I could, Mr. Chairman, the last meeting, and anybody that we just approved the minutes, we had a gentleman from Tight Crew LLC that wanted to put on they asked for a liquor license at Stronghold, and we asked them to come back to this meeting. Is there anything further on that? Just so the people in TV land to know, I know that
Yeah, they withdrew their application. They weren't, they were not going to be able to comply with the fire department's requests.
I just wanted to make sure that was on record. Okay.
So we don't, this, number 2 is done, correct?
Correct.
All right.
No.
No.
Oh.
Number
Oh,
2 is a
sorry,
different one-day liquor
Oh, it's a
license.
different, oh, okay, sorry, my apologies. Request for one-day liquor license for Oktoberfest, October 13th, 2019, Buzzed Meadery LLC. Someone here? He's been waiting for a long time.
We wouldn't move you forward.
My name's Justin Gagnon, and I'm the owner of Buzz Meadery LLC. I'm requesting a one-day liquor license for Buzz Meadery to serve and pour at the Oktoberfest on October 13th, 2019.
Did you do this last year?
No, I did not. It's my first
You're a
year.
brand new company, right?
Yes,
You
brand
got-
new
You got
company.
30 seconds to plug your, it's mead, correct?
Correct.
Which is a combination of...
So we make mead, and it's 100% honey wine, and we make it with 100% raw, natural honey, spring water. It's one of the oldest libations on Earth. It's one of the first libations ever made.
You're a local company?
We're local to Abington, Mass. Correct.
I guess my question is, are you planning on just giving out samples, or are you going to sell your product, glasses or bottles at this, the Oktoberfest?
I was going to sell it by glasses
By
and
glasses.
bottles too, if that's
Now,
allowed.
I mean, obviously Rick knows more about the liquor license laws than myself. Is this something that they can do with the liquor license that they have? A lot of liquor licenses only allow people to sell on premises, correct? Or is it maybe?
Right, but again, this is not a pouring license, so other than samples, you really don't have the opportunity. You're not serving as it, like it's a beer and wine license. So sampling is the most that you can do without, I think, a further license from the board, so, but I'll double check that though, because I'm not,
Okay.
So they could give samples away and say
Samples,
available at Billy's Liquors, which I think you are.
Or they could say sell a product on site that's not, you're selling a sealed bottle, you're not actually.
Oh, so they could sell bottles?
Yes, yes.
Provide samples.
Which is different than, actually pouring somebody a mug of mead, that's.
What time is samples
which is
open?
nothing wrong with that, but I don't think that's the time and location for it. So samples and sales.
Let me ask this, and I don't want to get anybody in trouble. Suppose they were to sell their product to the Legion, who has a one-day liquor license for that day event, and if people wanted to sample it and then go buy a glass of meat over at the beer, I'm kind of throwing the Legion on the bus as they're going to sell your product, but I'm not sure. Because they have bought kegs of 10th District before and sold it there.
Now we're splitting hairs because there's mead that's neither beer nor a wine.
It's wine.
Is it wine technically?
It's technically wine,
Okay.
so you're allowed to do direct sales.
And the Legion, presumably you could be a supplier to the Legion, and of course they absorb the liability.
Okay. I mean, I like the idea that mead is a perfect fall beverage, so it's perfect. It's Abington, Maine, and Corona. I would love to see this happen, so at the very least, I will approve this for sampling, and then I will get you in touch with the commander of the Legion, and maybe you can work something out.
Okay.
That's fine. What time will the samples be?
Calm down.
I'll second that.
You're approving the license, so you'll know what time.
Second, further discussion? Kim?
The people that are gonna be handing out the samples, are they tip certified?
Yes.
Okay, so they'll all be our employees?
Yes.
They'll all be tip certified?
Correct.
Will this be in a fenced-in area? Ken, I'm not familiar with the Oktoberfest setup.
We will set it up, I'm on the Abington Celebration, we will set it up close to the Legion's bar anyways, but currently it won't be the Legion people serving, but I do know that this company, the Buzz Meadery, does do sampling at Billy's Liquors now with someone who's tips trained.
Okay.
You're in Luke's Liquors too, right?
Correct.
I missed that
This is
sample.
me too, by the way, just want to let you know. Iced mead. I will,
You made the motion, and seconded, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? All set? Thank you very much.
that's from
Thank you
12
for your
to
time.
4 at Oktoberfest celebration on the Legion Petroleum lawn.
I can get in touch with them if he needs any more info.
Good luck to your business.
All right. Town Manager Search Committee, I'm the one that put this on the agenda because people have been asking what's going on, whatever. We appointed a committee, the Board of Selectmen, and I thought they were all getting together, and shame on me, I guess, but I did talk to Rich Smith, who was on the committee, and told him that I or the Board of Selectmen can't direct them. The direction is by the charter. So hopefully they will, is anyone here from the search committee? There you go. Want to come up? Come up, and I'll just let you know that, so the charter, and Ken, you've been around the longest, I guess, but.
Called you old.
Directs the search committee, from what I understand. The selectmen do not. So, the committee that you're on.
We currently have a copy of the charter. We have a meeting set up for October 1st in the Buckley Room at 7 PM. And our agenda will be submitted in the next probably 24 to 48 hours. And an email has already been sent out to the whole group, letting them know what's exactly established. And we're going to start out with an agenda, basically establishing our group and get a course of action so that we can move forward.
Excellent, excellent. And Rich, I appreciate that you reached out to me.
When I saw it was on there and you were looking to update, I figured we would have somebody here to at least speak on it if need be.
And, that's why I didn't, invite the whole committee to come, because that, again, I'm not one to have us or them violate an open meeting, so we want to take care of that. So just, as Rich has said, they're going to have a meeting, so everybody pay attention, and again, I appreciate you coming up and letting.
No worries.
All right.
Thank you.
Any questions or anything? Anybody have any? Any from the audience? Nope. Okay. That's all set.
Thank you. Have a good night.
All righty. Town managers report.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we received 5 proposals for town council RFP. Actually, 5 for town council, 8 for labor council, including 3 of those which were proposals for both. The board, our instructions were that the estimated timetable for a decision to be made was January 1. Again, you're not bound by that, but that was just an estimate for the purposes of an RFP. So the board would have to consider how you'd like to move forward on that at this point. See the options I have listed here. I don't know if you'd like that on your next agenda or not to make a decision on that. I don't know how much discussion you want to have on that tonight where it's not specifically on the agenda. So I'll leave that up to you, and I'm happy to move on. Okay. This past Wednesday, Bud's Goods and Provisions, they're one of the host community establishments we have a host community agreement with. They had their required community outreach meeting here at Town Hall in this room. There were about 10 people in attendance. They had the owner, operator, their legal counsel here. I would say it was, I think, a pretty good meeting overall. I think most questions were asked, answered. As of right now, Green Harbor Dispensary has not scheduled their public outreach meeting. They will have to do that soon. I did meet with the mayor of Weymouth last week and to discuss Weymouth's concerns with regard to Bud's Goods and Provisions, the location of that. And I have set up a direct meeting between him, his officials in Weymouth, and the proponents of Bud's Goods and Provisions. So that was, at least for now, try to keep the peace. Surplus land, get laid out there. There's really one parcel that the treasurer collector is working on to get that ready with the larger group of parcels to be auctioned. This is a 27 acres on Rockland Street that will need to be surveyed. So the funding that's in the additional funding in the budget this year for tax title will be going to the survey piece of that. So hopefully, it won't take too long before we can get all these out for sale, but it's kind of a challenging lot in that the assessor's records are not, there's a variance between the assessor's records and what the collector has on file. That's why a survey is necessary. I guess I'll skip ahead a little bit. I know a couple members of the board had asked questions about Linwood Street and some of the concerns there, and I provided for you some input from 2 chiefs and John Stone with regard to that. If anybody has any comments, emails you want to send forward to me, any suggestions you might have, we'll move them along and see if they're feasible. And 2 other things, well, 3, but first, the Memorial Bridge study, that contract has been executed. That is now, will be underway shortly. And the Island Grove Pond Vegetation Study, I know Kevin brought that up to my attention. That was another one of those projects that were voted by CPC that doesn't really have a natural proponent. It was brought up by a citizen. When they don't have a department essentially as a proponent, sometimes they can fall through the cracks, as the Memorial Bridge study did. So those 2 items are now contracted and ready to move forward. Last thing is, very happy to say that a couple years ago when we got out of the Mayflower Health Group, although we had every reason to believe that we'd be doing well financially, I'm happy to report that after going into the 3rd year, we've saved about $720,000 plus another $800,000 in reserves over 3 years. So hopefully this will be, now that we have direct evidence of the savings to the town, some impetus for having some of our partners regionally want to join with us. So I will add that kind of savings has been without the ability to save money here, we would simply not have been able to meet our other goals, staffing, contracts, et cetera. So full-day kindergarten. So there's a lot of things that we've been able to achieve by these savings. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
On number 1, can we form a subcommittee to look at the bids when they start coming in for legal services?
They're in, they're collected.
They're in, so, I mean, you know, since we have them, I'd like to get a subcommittee going on that, if we could.
Okay.
Does that need to be on an agenda? I wouldn't think it would need to be. We talked about it before, we talked about, you know, having to go, you know.
That's a
We've got the bid documents if the board wants to form a subcommittee. I'm not making eye contact with town council.
open meeting law question, and I don't.
I wish we had somebody here that might know the answer.
He might, but it's, seeing where it has to do with the legal services, it's like,
That's a good point,
it's
too.
like asking the town manager to recruit his successor, so. Anyway. So how you want to do it, you can put it on the next agenda to form a subcommittee. Again, you may, if that's your choice, there's other options here, but.
And we can do it as a whole board. I like the idea of a subcommittee. That's what they did the last time.
Yeah, and
So
I
we'll put
could,
it on for the next meeting, though, to
yeah,
Form a subcommittee.
form a subcommittee.
sure.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
And I had a question on number 4, and I had asked for that to be part of your report or on the agenda. The Glenowitz Way lot, this is the lot the
Yes.
town bought recently up here before you get to the high school on the right. I'd just like something to happen to it. And the reason I say that is now those fields in front of the school, now that they're starting to become used. You know, you see on Saturdays and Sundays, you see the sports game, and you see the parking becoming a concern. So, I mean, just off the top of my head, I'd like to probably see parking there. However, I did ask that maybe Rick could reach out to the school superintendent to see if they had a plan for it.
I did email him, and Peter got back to me this morning and asked if he could really have a few more weeks to analyze it with his staff, too.
I'd like the board members to start thinking about maybe, you know, we should probably do something with it, you know, or just leave it. If you're gonna leave it, make it grass maybe or something. I mean, do you want to make it another park?
Could build the Dunkin' Donuts on it.
We could. That would
Put some
work out
grass
good.
there, maybe the geese will leave the front.
But I mean, because I know that these fields in front of the school now are being used.
They're just being open, so, yeah,
starting to
the
be so-
impact is to be determined.
It might be convenient to put parking in there. So. That's all.
Anything else from the town manager, anybody? No? All right. I'll entertain a motion to enter into an executive session to discuss collective bargaining pertaining to the police union pursuant to MGL Chapter 39, Section 23B, as an open session may impact the town's bargaining position, and not to return from executive session. That should be from, Rick, not to? Assuming?
Not to return
Not
to
to
open
return, yes,
session.
did I,
Not to return to open session.
I'll make that
oh,
motion.
yeah, I'm sorry.
Second.
Okay. Seconded?
It is.
Okay. Individual votes, Kevin?
Yes.
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Tom, yes. Okay.
Because that open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the town's bargaining position, correct?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I think that's what Nancy said.
Taking a short break.